Greetings, brothers and sisters. I want to get into Donald J. Trump's bogus indictment. It's just ridiculous, the whole thing. And I'll explain why. Great moment I captured, hopefully, with the Jake Tapper show. Right? A somber time moment for you guys, longtime viewers, which is kind of hilarious. And, I could get all to the stupid misdemeanors and all these things with Trump. But first to you Trumpers, you diehard Trumpers, this is another way. I mean, of course, the stuff he did with Operation Warp Speed was the real, telltale moment for his betrayal of you all. But this was, this told you all you needed to know about whose side Trump was on. And so Trump was in this, I think it was at the last debate with Hillary Clinton. Maybe this is the second to last debate. He sort of gave up in the last debate. But the second to last debate, this is a kind of a big Trump moment.
After getting the subpoena, you delete 33,000 emails, and then you acid wash them, or bleach them, as you would say, a very expensive process. So we're going to get a special prosecutor, and we're going to look into it, because you know what? People have been, their lives have been destroyed for doing 1/5 of what you've done, and it's a disgrace. And honestly, you ought to be ashamed of yourself.
Secretary Clinton, I want to
boom. Okay, he's coming in hard.
follow up on that. I'm going to let you talk about emails.
Because everything he just said is absolutely false, but I'm not surprised.
Really?
In the first debate,
And the audience needs to calm down here.
I told people that it would be impossible to be fact-checking Donald all the time. I'd never get to talk about anything I want to do and how we're going to really make lives better for people. So once again, go to HillaryClinton.com. We have literally Trump. You can fact check him in real time. Last time at the first debate, we had millions of people.
You can fact check him by listening to us fact check him.
People fact checking, so I expect we'll have millions more.
She's a fact checker, and she's got millions of fact checkers.
Fact checking, because
fact checking. We fact check. We like to fact check. We got the fact checkers.
It is. It's just awfully good that someone with the temperament of Donald Trump is not in charge of the law in our country.
Yeah, because you'd be in jail.
Secretary Clinton.
Kaboom. So that was a great Trump moment. That was a kaboom moment from him. But then he did this.
Promises. You'll remember he promised to appoint a special prosecutor to investigate Hillary Clinton for using a private email server that happened during one of the debates. Well, listen
This is the gumball guy. He counted Trump's lies in gumballs, remember?
Listen to what he said at one of these thank you rallies just last night.
Lock her up.
Before the election, we don't care.
So he said, that played great before the election, but now we don't care. And Trump just told you Trump supporters, right there, that moment, right after he won the election, whose side he was on. And it wasn't yours. All you diehard Republicans and right-wing Hillary haters, he told you he was just playing you and playing on your desire to lock Hillary up, and he had no intention of locking her up because he was part of the club that he and Hillary were in, right? He told you right then. No, that played good before the election. I'm playing you. Like, I got you guys all worked up, but I never was going to deliver on that. Because that's what Trump do, right? And that's all you needed to know. Trump wasn't on your side. And so understanding this, then you know that this is some kind of bogus indictment. Unless they've turned on Trump like they turned on Madoff. But he isn't. They're not turning on you. They're turning on him, right? Like Trump's trying to make it about you and how he's protecting you. But if he was protecting you, Hillary would be in jail, right? He would have locked her up. Like if he was a man of his word, he played you. He played you Trump supporters, pretending to be something he wasn't. He was always a part of the club. And so here, indicted, arrest info, Trump family, flip out, Tucker, AR-15 talk. Biden silent on Trump's indictment as he plots 20 state tour to talk jobs. See, this indictment gives Trump cover. It makes him look like the system's after him. And it screws DeSantis, and I'll get into that in a moment, because there's a Trump statement here. It screws DeSantis, and it screws any other candidate, because now they're galvanizing the forces behind Trump. Oh, look, they're after Trump. He must be a rogue. He must be, not a part of the club. And so, it's just a bogus indictment, right? Shock. Trump goes to dinner, then rages online. Shocked. Trump will face 34 counts of business fraud after New York City indictment. Lawyer Joe Tapakia. There's Stormy Daniels, the porn star in the center of this big controversy. He's ready to fight, and he's the toughest guy I know. He was shocked, because we really weren't. I mean, I was shocked. He was shocked. You never knew that this was going to happen. Okay, so I saw a headline somewhere about Trump being indicted, so I turned on YouTube TV just for a moment. And Pence was being interviewed by Wolf Blitzer, which is hilarious because Pence is just horrible. And Jake Tapper came on, and there was a bit I used to do, and it centered around Jake Tapper. It was Tapper's. It was it was all CNN and some of MSNBC. It was the somber tie bit, which I'll explain in a moment.
Wolf, we obviously just heard from former Vice President Mike Pence on this historic night as his ex-boss, Donald Trump, becomes the first former president in the history of the United States to ever be indicted. Let's get some perspective now from CNN political commentator and former Illinois Republican Congressman Adam Kinzinger, who was obviously on the January 6th committee. Congressman, what's your reaction to the indictment?
Well, I mean, I think we all are looking forward to reading it. Maybe looking forward isn't the right word, but we all want to read it to see what's in it. I think it is Mike Pence expresses the concern of many people, which is this a political indictment? I tend to think no, because I tend to think that nobody is above the law.
What are you talking about? Of course it's political, right? Like, I mean, it's why you just come on and lie like this? Of course it's political. Because New York City and New York State is such a law-abiding state and they care about the law so much. If Trump never ran for president, him and Cohen would have not been indicted. Cohen wouldn't have been convicted. And Trump's business, they've been going after Trump in New York, his business, his associates, all these various people, that guy, Slimeberger, whatever his name was, right? Weinberger, something. They've gone after all of Trump's people there as allies. And they've tried to get people to turn on him. New York has, gone on a vendetta spree in a place that's one of the most corrupt cities and states in the country, and overwhelmingly Democrat, right? And their last governor decided to put people sick with COVID in nursing homes with old people who were the most vulnerable population. And it killed like 9,000 extra people, like just died because of that, his decision. And then he covered up the numbers, and to get rid of them so they didn't have to pay out all these families, because if they called out this negligence, they drummed up some bogus sexual harassment charges, Andrew Nips Cuomo and his goofy brother, right? And they got rid of the guy, right? It's a state that's known for like organized crime and double dealing. The city and all of it, right? And they're so, leaning Democrat. Trump used to be their golden boy. They used to love Trump because he wasn't a Republican, and he was very popular in New York. That was his home state. And now they've turned on him, and these are bogus charges. Of course it's political. Like, there's no one who, in their right mind, who would ever say this isn't political. They've been going after Trump forever, an apparent witch hunt, so Trump can claim to be a victim. I'll get into that more at the end of this thing. But this is a joke. It's part of the show. It's a joke indictment. They even talk about being a joke indictment. How does this guy just come out and lie? Like, this guy's just a piece of boop, right? A horrible human being. I don't think it's political. Of course it's political. Like, it's just, why? Why even just speak? Why even breathe if you're going to say stupid stuff like that? Of course everyone knows it's political. And look at effing Jake Tappers, right? Could you be more somber? Like, I'm going to get into the somber thing again here. Look at him. Look at Jake. Are you sad, Jake? What's up, Jake? You bummed? Are you like Trump? Are you a Trumper? Are you a secret Trumper? Why are you so sad? Jake, why are you so sad? What's going on? Why are you a gloomy Gus?
As was mentioned, Michael Cohen paid a price for this. A former president should pay a price for this as well, particularly doing what he did. But that said, I think we'll be able to tell when we read the indictment what evidence is had, exactly what the nature of this is. But there's no doubt this is unprecedented. It is a somber and sobering day because it is the first time in this country that a former president will be indicted, and that has some implications for the future. But again, nobody is above the law.
So it's hilarious because I used to the fact that this guy used the word somber with Jake Tappers, because I did this somber tie bit. I had different voices for the CNN characters. I mean, I can't remember the stuff, but I used to say this stuff about Jake Tapper and these guys having somber ties, because they come on, they're so depressed and they're so somber, the whole thing. Some of you guys might remember this. And so there's a time where I used to have a douche off and these things. I mean, it was funner times at CNN, and they're so bummed and, failing now. I'd like to bring that back at some point. I have to remember it. I can't remember the voice. I have to go back and listen to the videos. But anyways, there's that. But the other piece of this is it's an absolute joke. Because after they talked about how somber it was and it was a big deal and how it wasn't political, this bit, the thing I just showed you, they talked about how it's weak. Jake Tapper asked the guy if he thought it was weak because there's a lot of misdemeanors in all of these 30-odd counts against Trump. It centers around Stormy Daniels. And so the guy said, well, they've gone after, a lot of it has to do with campaign financing and things like that. A state that's just, think about all the murder TV shows and movies that center around New York City, all the organized crime TV shows and movies, all the corruption, all of it. And they're going after Trump for paying off a hooker, a porn star. Just ridiculous stuff. It's just silly. And it helps Trump tremendously. This is what this is about. Because it makes him look like he's a victim. It makes him look like they're going after him. And the only reason they're doing it is because he must be not on their side. He must not be part of the club. So he has to be protecting you. And it just, it gives him more street cred after the way he went out with Operation Warp Speed and how he turned on his, January, whatever, the big event, January 2021, how he turned on his supporters and, how he, just got played and just walked right into it, and how they used him and how he underperformed as a president, and there was the biggest power grab for liberals and, all of it, right? And so he got banned from social media. It just gives him cover. It makes him look like he's legitimate and he's on your side, and he's not. Hillary would be in jail if he's on your side. He's on their side, right? He's part of a club. And he's not going to jail because they need him. And this whole thing is just, political theater, and it gives them something to talk about. It's a weak indictment coming from a corrupt state. It's not going to hold up, and it just gives them, more time to distract you from the collapse of our civilization and, Joe Biden, Jojo Magoo, and all of these other things. Because, this isn't going to stick. It's not, it's misdemeanors. A lot of it's misdemeanors. They're not even, real hard crimes here. And it's just, you know what's going to happen. And it's just a way for them to, keep the focus on Trump. But anyway, speaking of which, he gave a statement here. So this just came in. I went on a walk and ate lunch. So, some time has passed. And I want to get to the Trump statement in just a second. But first this. Trump faces about 30 charges in the New York grand jury indictment. The exact charges are still under sealed. There's the sealed indictments, right? that QBs were waiting for, but are expected to be revealed when Trump is arraigned. So Trump, hearing the news of his impending indictment, has reverted to his human fish-like form, his fish-human form, and he's going to rejoin the rest of the fish people somewhere deep in the Pacific Ocean to avoid prosecution.
Calling Russia a gas station with a bunch of nuclear weapons, or calling Putin, quote, authoritarian gas station attendant with some legacy of nuclear weapons from the old Soviet Union, is exactly the kind of simple-minded thinking that has produced decades of failed diplomacy and ultimately war.
War is afoot.
And where is that war going? Those such as Mitt Romney and Ron DeSantis.
I don't know, where does war go? Mitt Romney and Ron DeSantis.
Very much alike, who insist on arrogantly treating Russia as deeply inferior to the other nations of the world, with no history or culture or pride, are not only ignorant and foolish, but their attitude makes it impossible to negotiate peace. Absolutely impossible.
There's a lot of glitch out in these Twitter videos.
Under my administration, we were tough on Russia.
They were tough.
Tougher than any administration before.
Never. No one's ever been as tough on Russia as they were.
But we also demonstrated respect.
Respect. We were tough but respectful.
For Russia and the Russian people. We demonstrated understanding for Russian history and the fact that Russia lost over 20 million lives in World War II. They were fighting with us.
They were on our team.
This kind of neocon rhetoric mocking Russia's nuclear weapons, along with implying that Putin must be tried and presumably executed as a war criminal.
Kaboom. Like, that's just crazy talk. Tried and found guilty before the trial even started.
Only increases the chance of deadly nuclear escalation.
Deadly nuclear escalation. Not like the, non-deadly kind.
Fundamentally, it shows a lack of depth, a lack of seriousness, and a lack of sophistication on the subtleties and complexities of foreign policy.
Exactly. That DeSantis.
You can't do certain things and end up with peace. This is not the time for an on-the-job training as we face the possibility of
DeSantis, DeSanctimonious.
Nuclear war. And our leaders, if you call them that, got us there.
They got us there, the leaders, again. This fish-like, he's transforming into a fish person right as we speak.
This is where we are. The word nuclear was never even mentioned during the Trump administration. Now,
exactly, fish boy.
Now it's being mentioned every hour of every day. We need a statesman and a peacemaker in the White House, not someone who recites...
We want a pitcher, not a belly itcher.
Mindless and recycled talking points to win the approval of the failed foreign policy establishment that didn't know what they were doing. In 2024, I am the only candidate who can prevent World War III.
Right here, this guy, fish boy.
I will prevent World War III. There's nobody else that's going to do that. Thank you very much.
There's only one man that can prevent World War III. This guy right here. He's the only one who can prevent World War III. No one else can. No other potential candidate can. Only Trump has the power to prevent World War III. I don't think Trump is right, because look at this guy. This guy gets it done.
Right down here?
Yes, sir. Down the ramp.
Down the ramp. Down the ramp.
And we have people lined up on the left over here.
Do they? What are people?
Some union leaders and workers.
Hey, guys and ladies.
Hey, guys. Look at him go. Look at him do that. Look at the happy walk. Let's watch his arms here. Roll him out like a little marionette.
Your mark is going to be the blue one to the left.
How y'all doing?
There's your mark over there on the left. Don't lose your mark.
You've got a blue mark, and that's okay.
I'll stand my blue mark, and then I'm going to say hello to each one of you.
Yes, sir. I'll help you get started.
I'll help you get started. I think you pooped your pants, Mr. President. Mr. President, did you make a stinky in your pants? Mr. President, come on. Do we have to change your depends? I think we do. Kaboom. That's the level of handling control this guy has. He can totally stop World War III. 30 million jobs could be affected by latest wave of AI, said Goldman Sachs. As many as 30 million full-time jobs around the world could be automated in some way by the newest wave of artificial intelligence that has spawned platforms like ChatGPT, according to Goldman Sachs economists. Somewhere else, I got another, a bunch of people, including Elon Musk, are railing against AI. Hopefully I'll find it. But here we are at Boston Dynamics.
Stretch is an autonomous case-handling robot for warehouse application. We're demonstrating container unloading.
Look at him go.
So what we're showing here is Stretch actually working.
Stretch is awesome.
with an accordion conveyor that's rigidly attached to the robot. However, we can also work with telescopic conveyors. It's pretty easy to learn how to use stretch, and we designed that on purpose because the less time...
Because, the morons that aren't as smart as Stretch.
Somebody's playing with the settings means the more boxes it's moving, and that's the whole point of the robot, is to be as efficient as possible and to maximize its uptime.
Stretch is purpose-built to be a flexible piece of automation that can seamlessly integrate to existing warehouses without a lot of extra infrastructure. It's very mobile and versatile and can just be rolled into a container. You press play and it goes to work. Stretch is
he's just emptying out that container.
Now deployed at Maersk, DHL, and Gap, and it's helping to improve their flow of goods and increase their productivity.
Essentially, if you can operate a washing machine, you can operate Stretch. You just set it up and you hit go.
Stretch is just so much better than the people that are running it. So there's that, taking over your job. Breaking, China and Brazil have reached a deal, trade in their own currencies, ditching the U.S. dollar as intermediary. So here's another article here. China and Brazil each agreement to ditch intermediary U.S. dollar to the China Daily. So this is being reported in various places, not just on Twitter, like I showed you. So that means, another hit to the petrodollar means the U.S. dollar will be collapsing soon. We have a petrodollar that people would have to buy oil in the U.S. dollar. If that goes, then you got nothing, right? U.S. has got a lame duck currency. The so-called QAnon shaman who pled guilty to storming U.S. Capitol is released 14 months early from prison because, he's some sort of an asset for the intelligence community, right? Jen Psaki is wearing lots more makeup now and is on MSNBC, and she really sucks at this. She's much worse at this than she was at her old job.
With the recent news of Donald Trump's
Donald who?
looming indictment, we've seen Trump's allies attack prosecutors in all sorts of ways.
All sorts of ways. She's very stiff. Right? She sucks at this job.
But one attack in particular stood out to me. On Thursday, Boris Epstein said that woke radical DAs in New York and Atlanta are to blame for Trump's legal
Boris who?
problems. Yes, you heard that correctly. Woke DAs are to blame here.
Woke DAs, exactly. That's what it is. It can't be that, right? Can't be woke DAs.
That attack stood out because it seems that blaming woke politics for problems big and small has become a one-size-fits-all response for Republicans lately.
Republicans. She's against Republicans as a reporter now, that she's on MSNBC. Who thought that would happen?
Take, for example, the news this past week of the collapse of Silicon Valley Bank.
It's the war on woke.
Largest bank failure since the 2008 financial crisis. It was a big deal, and it's a complicated issue, one that we could probably devote an entire show to. But for some Republicans, the real problem had no connection at all to any economic policies at all.
At all. You're not you need to take some acting classes or reporting classes because you're brutally bad at this job. It's just, it's painful and awkward and, just not good, Psaki. You have to do something. You're like Lawrence O'Donnell out there. I mean, it's embarrassing how bad you are at this thing. No flow, no, naturalness, just reading a teleprompter and acting really stiff and disconnected from what you're saying here. Wokeism is first came being awakened in the truth community. And that was the phrase, oh yeah, I woke up. And the wokeism was piggyback on that as a left-wing version, just like the QBs are an extreme right-wing version of that, right? So you had the purity that was the truth community that, that people knew that there was a left-right paradigm and both parties were corrupted and there was no good guys. And then, they've taken that and brought two extremes into it and created divisive groups of the QB-type people and the woke-type people who are enemies, even though they were born out of the same truth community when it was organic and legitimate, right?
This is really the first bank failure that was caused by adherence to woke beliefs and policies.
They were one of the most woke banks.
Lord knows what other left-wing romping was going on in these woke banks.
In this bank, they're so concerned with DEI and politics and all kinds of stuff. I think that really diverted from them focusing on their core mission.
So blaming the wokes or wokeness or wokeism has become a knee-jerk reaction for Republicans on any issue.
No way. Is that what's happening? Any issue. Look at her hand movement here.
Reaction for Republicans on any issue.
Look at this fine luxury automobile, right? Let me do it while she does it. Look what's behind door number 3, right? I mean, it's just so bad, Psaki. Okay, so Sharon J. Stone, I used to keep Alec P. Baldwin's and Hilaria Cucumber Baldwin Instagram pages up because they were giving me good content. Like every 3 or 4 days, I would check them out. I have Britney's up still because she's still doing the dancing. I'm not going to show anything of Britney's today because I don't have time. But Sharon Stone is delivering with these ghoul-like rants and, you know, her anti-vax. She's getting it done. And so here, look at Sharon Stone. Happy opening day. What's the opening you're talking about? What is this opening you're referring to, Sharon? I think opening day is every day for you. Right? So she goes out to throw the first pitch on opening day. Go Dodgers. Wearing this dress, sporting cleavage, and, you know, I mean, I'd like to, let me see if we can find, I'll see if the pitch is out there. Okay, so there's no video of this, which seems highly suspicious. But you can see by the way she's holding the ball here, she didn't throw a quality pitch, right? And then there's this, right? This is posing. This is the money shot. This is what she practiced, that she would end up in that position so she could have this, right? It's just also fake. It's classic Sharon Stone. Here she is laughing because the pitch rolled, you know, far to the left of the catcher. It didn't make it to the, you know, to home plate. So hopefully a video is out there, some video of this, because I know it's going to suck. Her performance.
The age of artificial intelligence is here, whether you like it or not, and it is happening fast.
It's happening fast.
We are building in public and we are putting out technology because we think it is important for the world to get access to this early, to shape the way it's going to be developed, to help us find the good things and the bad things.
That was the CEO of OpenAI, the company behind chatbot GPT-4. Right now,
what's wrong with GTP-3?
It's a software that's being tested by companies all over the world. It's also accessible to everyone at home. And last month, Microsoft introduced a new version of its Bing search engine that includes its own AI chatbot. And since then, the company has already released several new updates highlighting the lightning speed it's being plugged into a whole lot of products. And it's now available for things like email, calendars, and web browsing. You can even ask Microsoft Bing to make images from words. We gave it a prompt just to check it out. And we asked it to show an image of the Los Angeles skyline in the style of Van Gogh. It spit this image out in about 30 seconds or so.
Kaboom. It's just really good at painting. Elon Musk and others urge AI pause, citing risk to society. There's all this concern about it, obviously, and it's not going to stop anything. And we're talking about like World War III and the end of the petrodollar and AI technology, robot takeover. I mean, it's just death by 1,000 cuts. Satan is getting hot as hell in America pop culture. Newsweek is going, semi-truther, like a mainstream Republican would go truther. And so this starts off with the Possession movie with Russell Crowe, where the Pope's exorcist and all these other things. But, we all know that's been happening for a while. This is insane. Mexican military just seized assets of American company. So this must be some right-wing newspaper, online, publication. So the seizure of U.S. company's marine terminal in Mexico has drawn criticism from U.S. Senator and risks sparking more tensions between the two nations amid spat over energy and security. U.S. U.S. construction firm Vulcan Materials. Vulcan is to do with Spock and the Vulcans, which also is another Vulcan is some kind of demon or satanic creature. Alleges that the armed forces, including the Mexican government, launched a takeover of its facility in the country's southeast Tuesday. The company says the federal judge in Mexico has ordered a stay on any government effort to confiscate the property. Vulcan is the Roman and Greek god of fire and the forge of mythical inventor of smithing and metalwork. There's some, here he is, forging stuff, right? There's some kind of demon content here with it as well. I forget what it is. Anyways, I'm going to cover Britney J. Spears after all, because this was a headline, and there's trouble in Britney land. Britney and her husband, the love story of the ages. Britney Spears and Sam Asghari ditch wedding rings as she vacations without him. Kaboom! It's happened. The relationship. They did an intervention. He tried to do an intervention, and she kicked him to the curb. Britney Spears and Sam Asghari ditched their wedding rings ahead of the pop star jetting off on vacation without her husband. Spears is enjoying some rest and relaxation in Mexico with her longtime friend and manager, Kate Hudson, while Asghari remains in Los Angeles. There they are. There's Kate Hudson and Britney getting, she's humping the pole there. There I go. Do my hands, up at the pole. Pulling down the dress, humping the pole. And then, boom, says here, down here, the toxic singer shared videos on social media that showed her without a wedding ring. The Spears diamond sparkler also was noticeably absent from her Instagram videos, including one posted Thursday night of herself twirling in a bedazzled blue dress. Here it is, right here. There's a bedazzled blue dress. There's no wedding ring. There's barely any dress either. In typical Britney Spears form. And she's just so weird and crazy. No comments yet. She doesn't take comments. There she is. Boom. Britney doing her thing. Here she is in a red dress. No wedding ring either. But no, top starting to open up there. And she doesn't want to, be kicked off of Insta again. Even though she likes to strip. There she is on the beach. There she is with the red dress. And no wedding ring there, at least as far as. But there they are together. Oh, her and there's those two guys. And let's see, is there any pictures of her and her husband? He's noticeably absent. Oh, there they are. You go back to March 14th, and they were touching tongues. So this is a recent development. It's just so crazy in Britney land. Happy birthday, and I love you so much, and hope you get all your birthday wishes and more. Yeah, like a divorce from Britney. So the apocalypse is raging on here, right? It's covered a bunch of things. A former president saying we're on the verge of World War III. And, as much as Trump is a former president, right? And then all the other things that I covered here, AI takeover, robots taking over jobs, all these things that are just around the corner. Disaster is awaiting us all, right? Not disaster, but a change, and a change of significant nature. But there's something going on my channel where I've been making short videos. And so the videos aren't very truther in nature. They have little bits of here. It's only a minute long. And so YouTube has been promoting these videos more than my normal videos. And it's how my YouTube channel used to be when I'd get millions of views on some of my celebrities' video stings or whatever. And I get lots and lots of normies and get lots and lots of normie comments. It's been a number of years since they've changed the algorithms. So I'm not used to normie comments. I guess some QB, morons and some right-wing, stooges and things, but not the left-wing normies that I used to get when I used to cover Beyonce and all these other things. And so I've been away from that for a while. And now I've had 3 videos that got, tens of thousands of views, which is, more than my normal videos get now. And a lot of normies are watching them, and they're upset about them. And the most recent one is this Jamie Lee Curtis video that it's causing quite a stir in the normie population. And I'm getting, still getting 4 or 5 comments from normies a day. I covered one hilarious one. I'll read it again at the end of this comment section. But I'll read some other ones. And first, let me show you the video.
Kanye West tweeted on just recently, and he wrote, I woke up to this. Yeah, this is what he said, in case people don't know. I'm a bit sleepy tonight, but when I wake up, I'm going DEFCON 3 on Jewish people. And you responded immediately saying this. Also, on October 9th, the holiest day in Judaism was last week. Words matter. A threat to Jewish people ended once in genocide. Your words hurt and incite violence. You are a father. Please stop.
I burst into tears. I woke up and burst into tears. DEFCON 3 on Jewish people? What are you doing?
Films that have words in them are more powerful than just words. A tweet, right? A movie's much more powerful than a tweet. And she made movies. A monster who apparently never dies, hacks people up. Violence, horror porn. Just saying. And just as a barometer of the level of consciousness of these normies, let me just read these comments in, no particular order. Jamie is a woman of integrity. That one came in today. If you understand her as a parent and her as that, she had these weird photos of a baby in a box. I mean, it's a whole big thing in the truth community. But certainly not a woman of integrity, right? You can see the hardness in her face and just, there's not a good person inside there. This person. Michael Myers is fictional. This is the Michael Myers character who is the monster I refer to that never dies in Halloween. Michael Myers is fictional. Jewish people are real and have suffered violence. Any call for violence is irresponsible, especially from someone with Kanye's following. Well, you know what else is irresponsible? To misinterpret Ye's words, Kanye's words. Because when he said DEFCON 3 on Jewish people, he meant he was going to say a bunch of stuff on social media. And whether you consider it hate speech or not, he wasn't advocating violence. At no point was he advocating violence, right? And so Kanye is also, Ye is doing performance art. Like he does this quite often. I don't know what level of consciousness he has of this, but it's definitely appears to be performance art. And he does create controversy on purpose to sell his stuff. Like he's done some things in the past. There's all these fake rap battles and things that they do to get, their names, get their, the rappers get their, they get attention for themselves before they drop an album or something like that. It happens all the time. And it's completely fake and staged. And so that's also fictional, right? And I'm going to come back to that. Another person, Jamie, you're amazing. Keep on going and going. Just like the Energizer Bunny. And then this one, your analysis doesn't stand up to scrutiny. Jamie's horror movies are fantasy entertainment. Twitter is a platform for influence and rhetoric where people like Kanye can exploit their own power for their own personal profit. Boom. You nailed it, right? And then this one was the one I read for my other channel yesterday. I don't understand his point. I'm his. I don't understand his point. A movie isn't more powerful than a tweet. What is going on in your head, if anything at all? A film is acting. A tweet is reality and can be 10 times more powerful depending on who is posting it. Your IQ just dropped 10 points. I think it meant all of your IQs dropped 10 points for watching my short video. That's the power of my short 1-minute video. That this person, and I didn't cover this on my other channel, but the power of my short 10-minute video made your IQ drop 10 points. Right? when she's saying tweets are reality and movies are not, right? What's going on in your head? A film is acting, a tweet is reality and can be 10 times more powerful depending on who is posting it. Your IQ just dropped 10 points. Well, can a tweet do that? Can a tweet do... This is the kind of stupidity that's out there. The power of movies is there because in all you liberal woke people who don't really watch my videos here, they watch, they're now coming into these short videos. But your agenda is being forced on us in these movies now. They're pushing feminism and all this woke agenda in these movies, TV shows, and movies. It's been used forever. And if they weren't powerful, why are they doing that? Why are they pushing political agenda? Why are they using a movie to push humanity in one direction or another? We know about Edward Bernays, who wrote that book called Propaganda at the onset of the television culture in the 40s, when he was saying we're going to be able to control these MNFers like never before because it's so powerful, right? TV and media. And, YouTube videos are more powerful than tweets. And like I said before, tweets, you either agree with them or you don't. They don't change your mind. They don't influence people. The world isn't going to be taken over by a tweet, right? I mean, it's these other things. When you hear someone being blamed for something, it's not because something they tweeted. I mean, they tried to do that with Trump to some extent, but that was, bogus. But they blame, YouTube videos or things like that, right? Because it's just more powerful, right? It has a more, these things go into your subconscious mind. When you watch a horror movie, it affects you on your unconscious mind and your, all across your various levels of consciousness. Human beings learned by seeing, right? Monkey see, monkey do. Like human beings watch other human beings. When you're a baby, you watch other human beings and you imitate them. Even here on YouTube, if I don't know how to do something, I'll look up a how-to video on something for my homestead or some, whatever, fix something, and I'll copy what the other person's doing, right? I mean, people are always copying other people. It's a way that we, repetition and seeing things are ways that we learn and we copy behaviors. And like all these things that they talk about, copycat behaviors, these events that are happening around us, this thing that happened in Tennessee, or like they'll say, oh, these things are people are copying other people or whatever it might be. That's why they ban videos and don't let you see things that they don't want you to copy, right? Look at all the things that were done with like dares, like those, Tide Pod things and all these, things that were done, not dares, what was the word they used? Challenges, right? Or whatever they call it. And they banned those things because people were imitating other people's stupid behavior. I mean, it's very common for people to see something and then copy that very behavior on every level. And video games have a powerful effect. Everyone knows it. And these kids are playing violent video games and, there's anger and there's violence inside of them that is, exacerbated by the video games. And so all these things people know, any person with any consciousness would understand that horror movies aren't a good thing. I mean, that's why they put sex and violence in movies because, it has an effect on people. And so, her movies weren't benign. And she herself in that same interview said, she mentioned the horror movies, like I couldn't show you the whole thing, but she mentioned the horror movies and said that she's not a fan of them. But her whole career was built on them. Very hard, tough, unspiritual, unloving person. And people love her because she's going through this celebration of her career that was, in her own words, was built upon these horrible horror movies that had a, negative effect on our society. And who knows, what level of negative effect all these things have had. But look at where society is. Look at where people are today. And these, these normies, they just don't get it. I don't care. Like, I'm not here to convince them of anything. But I am grateful that, in a way, from the YouTube changing their algorithms, because I'm glad I'm not in front of these normies. I mean, I remember I'd get hundreds of these comments a day, just stupid comments. And, it would be depressing to see what level of intelligence and consciousness people had. And it just, I mean, it's as much of an indication of the apocalypse as anything else. Only spirituality will save this world. It's Paul Romano, definitely born from the apocalypse. and the ascension. Everyone have a blessed day and be grateful.